Last month, two Astros pitchers went down in 1 week with injuries requiring Tommy John surgery. And that had us asking questions. Specifically, is that injury on the rise? Mario Diaz has that answer coming up tonight at 6 o'clock. And Mario is joining us this morning. So this isn't just a problem, though, in the major leagues. This can impact all the way down to very young kids.
It is, and the numbers are rising when we're talking about children. But before we really dig in deep into this segment, I want you, Haley, and the viewers at home to take a look at this particular interview. You just finished high school. You've been pitching for a long time. On two hands, show me how many kids you know who have suffered significant arm issues.
I got 22 and 23.
How many?
23.
So, Haley, let me ask you, when you see that response from that young man about significant arm injuries and young pitchers, how did that strike you?
I mean, you asked him to count on two hands. He counted on 5 hands. You know, I mean, like he was really running out of fingers. I think that this is a problem with overtraining in our young people.
There's a variety of factors. So for that, we wanted to bring one of the foremost experts that we have in the nation, who just happens to be in our backyard, who can help provide us with some information. I have to be honest with you, okay? So I started truly investigating myself as an investigator, arm care for my own son. And I was made aware of his parent group, Tom House Sports, but this is Dean Doxakis. And to be clear, he has worked with my son. And I take him to him because this is the biggest issue that I'm concerned with and that a lot of parents are concerned with. Coach, how did that video strike you?
Not shocking anymore, unfortunately. It seems to be something that we see on a regular basis now. It's become kind of, unfortunately, a primary part of our business now is doing rehab on arms.
So how many students would you say that you know that have had Tommy John surgery?
I would say 60% of the people that come to us are coming for a rehab. Yeah, on some type of injury with of the upper body extremity. Yeah, an arm. Yeah.
You know, there are several factors here, but what do you attribute the rise in these type of injuries?
When we look at injuries, there's really 3 things it comes down to. One, it comes down to biomechanics. And I'll explain one just briefly. Biomechanics, unfortunately, there's a lot of opinions, but you really need to get down to the science to know if you have a correct biomechanical efficient movement. The other part is functional strength. There's been a lot of emphasis put on absolute strength. We're just building mass without really taking care of the small muscle groups, which we call functional strength, that can help prevent injury. And finally, the workloads. Workloads is how much am I taking out of my arm, and that means they're pitching too much.
What are the guidelines that you're suggesting to parents? I mean, do they need to be sitting out games or seasons? What's the recommendation?
Our recommendation is that you take at least 2 months out of the year where you don't pitch competitively on a mound. We believe that you should use your arm year-round and throw. It's nothing wrong with going out and playing catch on a regular basis, but 2 months out of the year, consecutive months, you should not get on a mound and pitch competitively.
Let's highlight a few quick things with regards to what you coach in your clinics and what we've seen with others. Education. How important is education for parents as well as the coaches?
It's extremely important for parents because they are the last line of defense to protect their child. Unfortunately, the industry is geared towards playing a lot of games, winning games, and sometimes at the expense of health. So educating our parents is extremely important because they're the last line of defense to protect that child.
What about listening to your child? he says to you, you know what, I got a little bit of pain here, Dad, I'm concerned. And the dad might say, oh, you're fine, just work through it.
Right. No,
That
absolutely.
mentality is still very much alive, even though we know that overuse injuries are on the rise. I mean, people still want you to push.
And it may not be verbal. Watch the body language. Sometimes that will tell you before the verbal language that there's something wrong.
Proper arm care. You have a phrase in terms of before you throw, you need a warm up.
Right. Yeah.
You want to rephrase that?
Yeah, we warm up to throw. We don't throw to warm up. And that, unfortunately, is what we see a lot of times is, youth will do just a small static stretch, pull their arm across and grab a ball and start throwing. And they end up throwing to warm up instead of warming up to throw.
What would be the proper way to warm up then?
Well, we have a very extended process.
Well, if I can jump into this, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
So I was when I first went for the first time, I was like, oh my goodness. It was a clinic in Katy with about 200 other kids. And we spent the first quarter of the entire day literally throwing pitches without a ball in your hand.
Okay.
So even when, let's say Hudson, my son, goes to a lesson, unlike other lessons with a child where you just show up and the pitching coach will say, okay, start throwing.
Right.
He doesn't throw an actual ball for over 30 minutes. And that's by design. Why?
Well, the joint has to be prepared for the workload it's going to take on. The reason why we have the injury is because of the release of the implement. It's coming out of the hand. That's what separates the joints and causes the stress to the connective tissues. So if we can spend time doing body weight work, isometric exercises, going through patterning our mechanics without letting go of the implement, we can actually prepare that joint for the stress that it's getting ready to have.
So you said 2 months off. For a lot of families, they're going to think that that's impossible. They're on multiple teams, they're traveling, they don't have 2 months to give. Why would you say that that's important? But I mean,
the only unnatural thing about throwing is being on a mound. That rise, that 10-inch rise in the mound is 6 times the body weight force on an arm. Okay, so that's the important thing. If they say they don't have time, they need to make time if they're really concerned about their child's well-being.
What does recovery look like for you in terms of a child once they get off the mound? Should they ice their arms?
No, icing, if you look at the latest research, they figured out that it probably was not the best idea. The body naturally inflames to start recovery. By icing, you're basically delaying that by a day or 2. So it's best just to get more blood flow and not less blood flow immediately for good recovery.
I think this is good information for a lot of parents. What about the mental toll? I mean, with the Olympics, we talk a lot about this. There's a lot of pressure to perform and to keep pushing. Could the mental toll also lead to injuries?
The mental toll will lead to poor performance, which leads to poor efficiency, which leads to the injuries, yes.
So you're talking about the pressure on that aspect, but there's also another mental component to this, Coach, and that is this not only taxes you physically if there's an injury,
right,
but also it damages you mentally. I wouldn't say damage. It puts you in a very challenging situation mentally as a child and as a parent.
Correct. It's a toll on both. And when someone comes in for rehab, there's a lot more to it than just getting their arm back to full strength or back to full performance. There's a whole mental approach that we have to engage with them about talking through, getting past the injury and getting back to where they feel they can perform.
All right, Dean Doxakis, National Pitching Association, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate it. Haley, we're going to have the complete segment about why we're seeing this rise in Tommy John surgery in teenage boys. And you're going to be shocked at how young the Astros team physician goes in terms of naming off his victims and their ages.
I mean, I'm shocked just to hear you say that. I think this is a really, really good story and a message to get out. Where can people locate you?
Nationalpitching.com. You can find me and all our coaches around the country.
And got to keep in mind, we are arguably the largest youth select baseball city in the nation. There is constant baseball because of the weather and because there are so many parents who love the sport, and also because you have the Astros that are doing so well. So you have the kids that want to obviously recreate what they're seeing out at Minute Maid.
That's true. All right. Thank you both for joining us live in studio.